On the night of March 20th, drones attacked the area of Engels Airfield, where ammunition depots are located. Local residents wrote about the smell of kerosene in the air, and evacuation of civilians began in the areas adjacent to the airfield. ASEAN analysts, who have studied in detail the footage from the site of the arrivals, report that the strikes hit weapons depots near the airfield, the Dialogue.ua resource reports. This airfield plays a major role in Russian missile attacks on Ukraine, as two 95ms and two 160s regularly make combat sorties from it. Cruise missiles of the Kh-101 type are stored and maintained at the airfield. Local residents indirectly confirmed the arrivals at the weapons depots, reporting secondary detonation, heavy smoke, and fire. Rosaviatsia suspended the operation of airports in Saratov and Samara. Local authorities have declared an evacuation zone of 1.5 kilometers in the airfield area. Local publics reported that the attack on the Saratov region began around 4 o'clock Kiev time. At the same time, as of 5:50, the drones were still continuing to attack Engels. Eyewitnesses reported a large column of smoke in the neighborhood 3rd Letny Gorodok, located 10 kilometers from the military airfield. Also, local publics wrote about the work of air defense systems in the sky above Saratov and Engels. In the network appeared footage, which shows how the Russian air defense system strikes residential houses and hospitals in an attempt to land drones. The governor of the Saratov region, Roman Busargin, confirmed the drone attack on the region. He also claimed damage to the city hospital in Engels. According to him, one of the women received an arm injury due to broken glass. In the Sokolovaya Gora area, Russian air defense forces opened fire on the private sector in an attempt to shoot down the drones. According to Busargin, classes in Engels schools will be held today in an online format. In addition, Rosaviatsia announced the suspension of operations at Samara and Saratov airports. It is still too early to talk about the results of the drone attack, as they continue to strike. Meanwhile, Putin wants Ukraine not to attack any more refineries on Russian territory. According to the Russian president, his army has been advancing in recent months in almost all directions. However, at the same time, the number of attacks by AFU drones on refineries in Russia has increased dramatically. Experts say that in the first 3 months of 2025 there have already been 19 attacks by Ukrainian drones on the territory of the Russian Federation. At the same time, by the end of 2024, there were only 25 such attacks, reports The Telegraph. By striking the refineries, Kiev wants to slow down the advance of Putin's army in Ukraine. Kiev also wants to force Russians to live under constant psychological pressure and the realization that the war is actually much closer to them than it seems, which is why Putin wants a temporary ceasefire only on energy facilities. That said, he is not opposed to continuing fighting on the ground. Livia Gallerati, an analyst at Energy Aspects, said that after a series of drone attacks on refineries, the production of oil products in Russian Federation dropped noticeably. While some refineries were producing 5.6 million barrels of oil per day, after the drone attacks, the figures dropped to 5.1 million. RUSI analyst Emilim Ferris said that the attacks on refineries not only affect oil production, but also once again draw Russians' attention to the topic of war. Such strikes make Russians realize that Kiev can strike anywhere in the Russian Federation and distance is not an obstacle. The source writes that Ukraine also benefits from the 30-day ceasefire and refusal to hit the energy sector, but all this time Kiev will not be able to hurt Putin and will not be able to hit the refineries.